All right, so we have market this week. Week ended 14th of September 2018. My apologies for not being able to carry on with the last couple of market this week's busy schedule. However, back this week, let's look at how the markets have been doing. So first and foremost, let's take a quick look at the Nifty future chart. This is a daily chart. On my left, I have two tick queries running. As you can see, I just want to check which are the stocks hitting the day's high with significant volumes in the futures market. So let them run. Just keep an eye on that. And coming back to the Nifty, or starting off with the Nifty future, we've got a bounce back in our hand. We've got a gap up in our hand today. And this gap up comes after last Wednesday's bounce back. And last Wednesday's bounce back comes after a two-legged fall that we've noticed from the high of around 11,780, 11,790 on the Nifty future. Looking at the daily chart as well as the weekly chart, when we were 2 weeks back around this time, that is end of August, there was no significant technical bearish setup on top. Yes, indicators were stretched. Yes, momentum indicators down, and that's how momentum indicators behave before time. But structurally, there was not any particular setup either on the daily or on the weekly, or let's say either on the monthly also, which suggests that this can lead to a significant fall. So my take on the overall market or the Nifty is we're not probably going to see any significant correction or bearish move. The index might try to bounce back, which it's doing. It's holding well to today's gap up. It's not given back most of it. So obvious levels that come in is close to the previous high of the psychological 11,600. There's no doubt about it. If I open the derivatives summary and if I check with Nifty and if I quickly check the PCR, more or less the liquid PCR stands around highest put call ratio. So we've got close to 10,800, 600, 900. So 10,600, wow, 10,800. That's like, that's quite far. That's where the highest PCR lies. All right. Significantly close to current prices, we have 11,100. That's the strong support which the options data are suggesting. But if we go further down, we find 11,300, 11,200. But more or less, what I sense is we've got decent supports coming in. 11,600 is the immediate resistance to watch at. A quick look at the intraday charts. This is the 15-minute chart, which is obviously quite choppy. Let's move to the 75-minute time frame. We've got a gap up. Let me zoom in. Okay, I change it to candles because you guys love candlestick charts. I generally trade the bar chart. So we've got a gap up and halt. And now we are trying to see some fresh bout of momentum. As you can see on my left, I've got some movement from the PSU stocks, banking stocks. IT is a little bit weak today. That's the way it has been. So let's keep a watch on 11,600 on the upside. If that is taken care of, then we might expect some follow-through movement. But having said that, it's been a sharp fall. Rupee has been a main reason if you want to give it a reason. But technically, on the charts, the daily, weekly charts as well as the monthly does not suggest us a structural bearishness on top. We had almost 9 consecutive weeks of positive closes. Rarely do we get to see 9 consecutive weeks of gains on the index. After that, obviously, all the indicators will go stretched and overbought. And a little bit of correction is healthy for the overall market so that it can inch further up. So let's see. Right now, I would say if I have to use a word, I would be cautiously bullish. 11,600 would be the level I would be looking at. What about Bank Nifty? The Bank Nifty daily chart, we don't have a gap up, do we? Yes, we have a tiny gap up, but Bank Nifty did see a little more of choppiness after the opening. than the Nifty. As you can see, this is the 75-minute chart of Bank Nifty. This is the opening bar. It actually sold off a little bit and now it's bouncing back. That's pretty good. And in Bank Nifty, we've got decent polarity resistance coming in at 27,300, 27,330, this zone. This zone was a very good support, broken quite sharply, inching back, and this is where I sense is the important zone for the Bank Nifty to face some resistance. If it manages to take that out and sustain above it, that is, let's say, use a round figure of 27,400. This is the candle from where the selling started. 1, 2, 3. The high of this candle is 27,400. So 27,400 is a psychological level above which, if it sustains, we've got some hope. Now, banks are a mixed space. Let's open up the Bank Nifty constituents. So what do we have today? We've got gains from Yes Bank, big 4% gains after the sharp sell-off. We've got a divergence in our hand, as you can clearly see. IndusInd Bank, SBI, pretty good. IDFC, not a big follower of these names. Federal Bank of Baroda should be doing all right, not much. On the downside, it's Axis Bank. It's not negative, but it's flat. Kotak Bank has been in a slow drift on the downside. So banks are kind of mixed. If you have to pick up few names, the important bank to keep a watch is this guy, HDFC Bank, because this stock is the one which started to correct after this evening star and it's come off significantly. Divergences have failed erstwhile over here, and they just enter the trade and they keep on coming down further. So keep a close watch on HDFC Bank, because I think some amount of support, if the Bank Nifty has to get a push, should come from stocks like HDFC Bank and State Bank of India, of course. But nothing great. This space is also, I would say, cautiously bullish. So which are the other sectors which did good today? So let's go to the report designer. We come to the report designer and we quickly go to the rate of change, and we put 1 week. Just we would like to figure out how have these sectors performing over the last 1 week. So NSE all indices, and let's say we quickly do a run on that, and we get the Nifty quality, which we don't track. All right, metals. Now metals got a sharp bounce back. Let's check the Vedantas and Tata Steels and Hindalcos. They've all bounced back well. So that's the only sector which is positive apart from Nifty quality, which is in the positive territory this week. Rest, all of them are in negative. So is there any hope in metal? So metal is back to its highs. Momentum obviously not back to its highs, not a good sign. If this has to be a divergence, is it shaping up at some kind of a resistance? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive weeks. Obviously in the weekly charts, indicators are stretched. I will not call it a divergence. I will not call it a resistance per se, but I would say that it's going up, but it's getting tired. Yes, it's going up, but it's getting tired. As we speak, Nifty is hitting the high of the day with some decent volumes coming in. That's good. So let's check the constituents of the metals. So we change the banks and we go to metal. So we got Nifty metal here. So who are the ones who are doing good today? JSL, Hisar, I don't track this. Vedanta, right. So Vedanta is on the verge of a breakout. So weekly charts, all right. We've got a downtrending stock giving a bounce back. Indicators go overbought, which suggests it's a swing short candidate on the weekly. Daily, we are up fairly close to 5%, and not bad. I think this stock, if it sustains above 234, can give us a move towards that 237. That's from where it corrected erstwhile. It's a nice level to keep a watch on. This one where I'm keeping my cursor. Highs, 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 and lows. So 237, 238, an important level for Vedanta. I think like the sectoral index itself, the Nifty metal, this guy's picked up momentum, but probably can slow down. Who are the other ones? Jindal Steel, clean breakout. Move. Hindustan Zinc, I was actually looking very closely at this stock in this area. But anyways, the stocks come off and bouncing back. I don't see much in it. Hindalco, good move, got a breakout. JSW Steel also holding well to its highs. Steel Authority, not the best of stocks within the metals to track. Hindustan Copper, forget it. Tata Steel back to its resistances. So essentially, if you ask me, metals are supporting today's move. Metals have picked up some momentum, but I don't sense that this momentum is going to last long and the support from the metals are going to stay. So it has to come from somewhere else, probably the banks, probably the other names like Larsen and Toubro or others. So let's look at them. So Pharma, this will be very interesting space to check because this was on a roll. So let's change the group and let me take you to Pharma. As we go and open the Pharma space, look over here on my tick query. HDFC Bank hits day's high with decent volumes. So that's exactly what we were talking about some time back, that if the banks have to pick up some steam, support has to come from HDFC Bank. And there we go, it's doing good. So we were looking at Pharma here. There you go. So Pharma's bounced back well today. And this is the sector which can, I guess, can continue further, unlike metals. Aurobindo Pharma bounces back, strong uptrend, there's no doubt about it. Beautifully stretched weekly charts and an amazingly beautiful monthly chart. There's no doubt that this stock is headed for significantly further upsides, but currently it seems to be a little tired on the intermediate weekly charts. It's probably this is going to be a one more move before it slows down, but nevertheless, definite long bias. One should continue to trade this on the upside. DV's Lab stuck on a range. It's actually finding pretty stiff resistances at 1320. Bounce back from the lows of around 1230. That's where close to these highs are. So we've got some support here. Biocon, this will be a really interesting chart to look at. Weekly charts on the verge of a multi-week breakout. Excuse me, monthly chart is on the verge of an all-time breakout, and daily it's picking up resistances, a typical swing trade we have in our hands. I think Biocon can play a role going forward from an intermediate point of view. Piramal, this stock I traded over here in this zone. Beautiful weekly and monthly charts. This is one counter you should definitely keep a close watch. Futures market, not that liquid. Options, completely liquid. Cash market, it's got an average volume of around 5 lakh shares a day. So PEL is definitely one worth an intermediate to long-term hold. Glenmark is the other counter which has been on the downtrend and it's moving up. The others which we saw in Aurobindo, DVs, Biocon, PEL are all the strong stocks within the pharma. Now we are heading to the weak stocks within the pharma which are now bouncing back. The Glenmarks, the Dr. Reddy, the Sun Pharma, the Lupins. These are all erstwhile downtrending stocks. Now they are inching up. This is Lupin daily. This is Sun Pharma daily. What we've got, this is Dr. Reddy daily. So what we have got is a bounce back and not as much steam as we see in the strong sector. So keep this in mind. If you're getting into pharma, Oro, DVs, Biocon, PEL, okay, these four are the ones which are in a strong uptrend. They will continue to do good whenever the pharma does good, okay. So definitely amongst these four will be your pick. Then you should look into Lupin, Sun Pharma and Dr. Reddy, not the other way around. But overall, I sense that the pharmaceutical space should definitely contribute in the move ahead. HDFC Bank continues to hit high of the day. Let's quickly check on it. We've got an intraday breakout in our hands. The 15-minute charts clearly kind of shows a flag breakout. This is the move which the tick query is capturing over here, hitting the high of the day with high volumes. So that's a good move. That's exactly what we were talking about some time back. So pharma, yes, will play a role. Commodity, infra, media, these does not play much. IT, we would definitely like to take a look at IT because dollar being at close to 73 is a good thing for the it's a good thing for the IT, but they seem to be a little stretched on the upside. So what they have done is they have not shown a great move on the upside with momentum, but they have seen staggered slow moves. but holding well into an uptrend. Tech Mahindra holds well, not a problem, not an issue at all. Wipro, extremely good move, holding well to its highs. TCS easing off a little bit, and Infosys. So is Infosys easing off a little bit. But look at Infosys. All that you have is a low volatile uptrend. Barring these couple of bars, what this and this, these two falls, essentially Infi had been in a low volatile, quiet, slowly drifting on the upside uptrend. I think this is going to stay. Whenever the Nifty or the overall index faces some kind of issues, thanks to the US dollar strength and the rupee weakness, I think IT and a few pharma names will definitely do better than the rest of the market. So do keep an exposure on them. Look to buy them on a dip, especially Infosys. I would like to show you a few stocks. Let's say look at the stocks which are doing really good in today's market. So we've got the market summary open here. I sorted in terms of percent. So Balrampur Chini, big move from the sugar stocks. That's the news coming in the market, which is affecting the sugar counters. Strong downtrend, most of them, all of them. But we've got some hope with high volumes. I'm sure that there'll be many sellers waiting at various resistances to dilute their position if the move comes. So not much interested in these sugar counters for sure. India Bulls Housing Finance stuck in a range on a weekly. Look for this breakout. Jindal Steel, nice swing move on the upside. This is a weekly chart. We've got a breakout. One might call this as an ascending triangle. This and this. We call it an ascending triangle. Yes Bank we spoke about. Aurobindo we definitely have spoken about, and Hindalco. So these are the gainers, the high volume gainers. Amongst the losers, we've got HCL Tech, Infi, TCS. Not much of a surprise. These are all IT names. ITC. Now, ITC and Hindustan Lever, if I am mistaken, ITC is bouncing back from close to a gap up. So this is a good sign. When we see supports coming in from gaps, these are definitely good signs. And I sense that ITC, looking at the weekly and the monthly charts, have significant upsides from here. I am closely looking to buy into these stocks on a dip. So I'm at Hindustan Lever as well. Hindustan Lever has not managed to bounce back like the way ITC has, but definitely if the market corrects further from here, and if our cautiously bullish stance turns around to cautiously bearish and then bearish, then ITC would be a good stock to look at all the way down till 285. We don't mind accumulating in our long-term portfolio. So the overall take on the market is cautiously bullish. Nifty is holding well to its today's gap up, around 113 points up, with close to 2 hours 15 minutes left in today's trade. I sense that the weekly close is likely to be like this, where we have a bounce back from the week's low. This is going to be an important pivot for the bears. A break below this week's low can lead to further weakness. But as I said, no structural damage on top. I stay cautiously bullish in the overall market. Now, let's take up your questions. If you have any doubts or questions, feel free to ask me. I'll take up your doubts and stocks or sectors. What are the tick query inputs? JK is asking, so I'll be very happy to show you, JK. So I'm scanning them in the futures market, and I'm looking for a trade with 10 lots or above. It has to be a trade with 10 lots or above, and I'm looking at a value of 1 CR. So I'm looking at 100 lakhs. So these are the query for my the tick query. Similarly, I'm looking at this tick query where the stock is meeting or has met this criteria and is at the high of the day. Similarly, for the downside, at the low of the day. Krishna Sai is suggesting us to look at Kalyani Steel, right? Not the counter that I look into often. Looks like extremely illiquid. Okay, Kalyani Steel. I have data only till 2001. I will. you have to help me with the code if it's still traded or not. I, being a completely futures and options guy, it's very difficult for me to track all the cash market stocks. So Krishna, if you can give me the code that I have, Kalyani Steel, is not got traded after 2001. So you have to help me with the KSL. All right. I'm sorry, I don't know about this because I don't look into these. So I got it, 14.9. Perfect. Let's look at the long-term picture. Monthly charts, significant correction. We've got a bounce back in our hands. The million-dollar question is, will it last or not? Weekly charts are suggesting that. The daily charts are all right. So not greatly bullish, neither greatly bearish. There are two reasons to it. Well, in the month of November 2016, it made a low of 237. Currently, it made a low of 228. So you have a 220, 230 zone. So one might try and start to imagine a left shoulder, head, and the next right shoulder. Don't fall for that because it's a huge head and shoulder if it has to be. But these are the strong supports. It's holding well. On the monthly charts, it's important to take out 325 to make a newer high on the monthly charts. So momentum is not that great. It gives move couple of days, then slows down for the rest of the week. So I think this chart needs time. This definitely needs time. And on the downside, immediately 260, 262, where we had this nice cluster, is going to act as your support. So wait and watch, Krishna, for KSL. I'm sorry, I cannot see your name. You have not typed your name, but he's asking about, sir, India Cement I bought on basis of rising wedges. What's your view basing on rising wedges? So amongst the cement stocks, I would share my personal view. India Cement is probably the worst of them to at all trade or invest. This is the monthly chart of India Cement. This is the monthly chart of ACC. This is the monthly chart of Ambuja, and this is the monthly chart of Ultratech Chem. Okay. So now you tell me, for what good reason would you like to get into a chart like this? Anyways, having said that, you've got a rising wedge. Okay, I see a rising wedge. And rising wedges, if they come in a falling market, they are continuation in nature. So in case if India Cement breaks 109, I think it will go through another bout of selling. As of now, good thing is it's breaking above that 122, 123. If I extend my time frame to the weekly, I see a little bit of movement coming in, and the erstwhile polarity resistance comes in from 130. So 130 doable. It needs to sustain above 122. 111, 110. That's your strong support. If that goes, your rising wedge will act as a continuation pattern. Madhav is asking, is breakout trend line on RSI a good idea to work on, or price is better? So you can draw them on the RSI trend lines or channels. They definitely give you a leading indication because RSI itself is a leading indicator. There is no doubt about that. Having said that, definitely act on the basis of price, not on that of the indicator. All right. Kotak Bank, Rakesh. Kotak Bank is a good bank. I have my accounts there, but stock wise, it has gone through some corrections. This is a meaningful correction happening in Kotak Bank. I see a formation of a divergence on the weekly charts. The weekly has bounced back pretty well from the week's low of round figure 1200, which is a good thing. 1244.65. So 1245 is this week's high. I think if it takes out 1245, that's these lows, these two lows acting as resistance. Above this, I think you got a move of around 50 points, which will take you to 13. So from a short-term point of view, if you ask me, Madhava, I am bullish above this week's high for around 40 to 50 points on Kotak Bank. Monthly charts it's beautiful. There's no doubt about it. What it is essentially doing is just gaining some headroom, some space for higher upsides. I maintain a bullish view on Kotak. There's no doubt about it. But from a short-term point of view, I'm short-term bullish. I think 1200 psychological, where we have this bullish engulfing, holds well. If 1200 goes, there might be some pain. In that case, it can open up further down close to that 1150, 1130 mark. But I sense for the rest of this month, 1200 is going to hold for quota. Let's see how it pans out. Madhava is asking any books to read to get better idea on RSI trades. So RSI is something that I pay a lot of respect to, and I've done a lot of my own trades and research purely based on the RSI indicator. There are a lot of books by, there is a book by Constance Brown where she mentions about RSI. There's a book by, don't remember the name right now. Give me some time. I'll probably share it in one of the videos or one of my posts in Coda. The name of the authors are not coming into my mind right now. But yes, there are a couple of people. Andrew Cardwell, the master of RSI, had done an amazing work on the indicator, and his students have done a very good follow-up. You can find these books. I'll share these names with you a little later. It's just not coming into my mind right now. Yeah, John Heron. Thanks a lot. My colleague just helped me out here. John Heron is the other person who has written a pretty good book on RSI. So you can look at them. Sir, in rising wedges, we wait for break of the lower line, right, or recent swing low? No, you wait for your wedge to get broken. You define your wedge, you draw your wedge, and you wait for the wedge boundaries to get broken. That's how you should trade the patterns. All right. So, any other questions? As we speak, we've got some bout of momentum coming in from the OMCs, the oil marketing companies, HPCL, IOC, BPCL hitting days high. It's a good thing. I'm sorry, I cannot see your name, but he's asking about DLF. DLF, let's look at the monthly or the weekly charts. We've got a sharp bounce back, pretty good. Short-term correction. We've got a hammer kind of a pattern, not bad. Daily chart, 2-day bounce back. We've got a divergence trade over here. So essentially, I'm looking at this bar's high, 207, 197. So 10 points, 217. So this move should take me to test this rising gap. But it's been 2 days back to back, which will tell you that the intraday charts have gone zoom over bought. So because they have got overbought, this is a 15-minute chart and this is a 75-minute chart. We might see an ease off, and then it's coming here. It's coming to this zone for a retest. I sense that if this daily divergence have to play out, this is where it should ideally come and face some resistance. So short-term bullish, but ultra short-term wait, because in the 75-minute chart, it's gone deep overbought. It's hitting my resistance levels also. When you look at this red line, it's hitting my resistance level. So this is not the best place to buy. Wait for a dip. If it holds, if I get a swing set up, that's where we go long for 216, 217 on DLF cash. Okay. Pretty good, actually. The OMCs are picking up. That's nice to see. Madhav is asking, sir, is there a way to trade RSI crossing 50 mark with expecting momentum? Is it true? Well, there are few quantitative algo systems which actually take these trades looking at the RSI 14 value crossing the midline, which is 50, on different time frames for positive momentum. I would suggest you don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. The strength in RSI comes in defining the ranges. Number two, the strength in RSI comes in the divergences. Firstly, the hidden divergences, and secondly, the classical divergence. So that's where the strength of the divergences comes into the picture. So don't fall for that 50 rule. There are few systems created on this rule, but not the best of ones. Right? Repco Home, yes, Repco was on my radar a couple of days back for a short trade. Illiquid, that's why I didn't go for it, but it gave a very sharp fall yesterday. It's in a strong downtrend. I got a swing set up over here. Weekly charts are down, monthly charts at all-time low. This is not a very long chart. Your polarity resistance comes in exactly close to that 550 mark. Erstwhile lows, current highs. So nothing doing as long as 550 is taken out. I don't see any divergences or positivity coming in here. So I would say wait. If you have to buy Repco, do not, just wait out. Bajaj Finance, Rakesh Hotwani has joined in. Rakesh is my student, if I'm not mistaken. Bajaj Finance. Let's take a look at it. We've got a sell-off. Engulfing comes down. We've got some sense of divergences shaping up. This should take us to around 40, 15, 35 points, 2700. Yeah, it should take us around 2700, 27, 25, 30, 35. This red candle high. Does it have room on the intraday charts? Let's quickly check the 75-minute charts. It's turn around. The moving averages have turned up, which is a good thing to see. Indicators have gone overbought, means it is going to cool off. My range suggests we are in a bear market. That is, the 75-minute chart is in a bear market. So it needs a push. Your polarity resistance comes in exactly at 2670, Rakesh. So 2670, 2680, 2690, this zone, this is the area of your resistance. Expect, if you are expecting this kind of Bajaj Finance that you have seen recently, this can only come up only above 2700, not below that. If it stays below 2700, it is likely to face selling, right? Priyam, hi. He wants me to talk about Balrampur Chini and Tata Motors. So Balrampur Chini, as I said, sweet is something I stay away from as a stock, as well as something that something to eat. But we got a good move. You've got a push from the volumes as well. Weekly, monthly, long-term charts are significantly uh, beaten down. I hope this breakout sustains, and if it does, we've got some scope of 100, 105 if it at all happens. If you allow me to do some stunt with Fibonacci, which I tend to do earlier a lot, then I can show you some upside. Yeah, there you go, 102. So 100 is the psychological level. If you have gone long and if you sense 100 will come, put a limit order to sell at 98, 99. Psychological levels are very tricky levels to trade into. All right. Tata Motors, monthly Tata Motors, nope, nothing great on the weekly and nothing great on the daily also. So if you ask me, by looking at the quarterly and monthly charts, deeply oversold, one can start to accumulate in the cash portfolio, but expect lower levels from the stock. All right. JSPL, can we initiate an aim and shoot in 15 minutes? Now you're talking about a very short-term time frame. So Jindal Steel, 15 minutes. I do see a name, and I don't see a shoot yet. I don't have a shoot, but looks good. The 15-minute chart. Be very careful. I'll share my honest experiences with you that these strategies which I trade and which I share, the aim and shoot, the hide and seek, and the others, I have seen them act well in the daily, weekly charts, obviously, and they tend to do good, but not as good as the daily chart. So be very careful when you trade the 15-minute bars. See, Balrampur Priyam, it doesn't make sense to enter here, but even if you have, and if this move has to sustain, today's low should not be breached. Very simple. Or generally, the breakout rules that I follow, this is your breakout bar. Sorry. If this is your breakout bar, then the bar before that is this one. That was Wednesday's low. 73 is what the SL you should use. Of course, it will be wide because today the stock is up close to 15%, right? Madhav is asking, is there a divergence on charts like Balrampur? Will you take it? Because I'm asking, there can be many other beaten down stocks showing up divergences on previous downtrends. What's your comment? Madhava, divergences is a sign that the fall has slowed down. It will lead to a short-term bounce back. That short-term bounce back will definitely come. Whether that short-term bounce back will take a shape of a long-term reversal is very difficult to say. So don't trade divergences that, okay, this is the end of the down trend and the new uptrend will start. That's not the work of a divergence. Theoretically, that's what you'll find in most of the books, and hard to break your heart. It's not true. Practically, it doesn't work. What works is they act as very good um, short-term moves, and at times those short-term moves can lead to big moves. So I have a pattern called the back-to-back, which confirms us that yes, this divergence is going to give us a big move, right? So don't fall for it and trade all of them. And if you trade them for very short term, not medium to long term. Okay. So RR will not be good if we look at here SL. So Priyam, I will suggest if you're a trader, don't look for RR. You can look at risk reward ratio, which is a good thing, but first look at making money. If you're trading and you're investing, the first thing you should focus is, did you make money in your trade or not? All right. All right. I'll take up Voltas and I'll end today's market this week. Voltas. Bounce back. We've got a bounce back. We've got a decent bounce back on the weekly also. This is a good stock to trade because it moves well. Intraday charts definitely extended on the upside. Polarity resistance coming in at a 618, 620 zone. That's all right. Not a problem. Oh, we've got a divergence bar here. Beautiful. So the divergence trade has kicked off really well, and the divergence targets have also been met. In fact, this is where the polarity resistance for Voltas is. It's at 606, 608. Current high is 60611. So it is at resistances. If it takes it out, we've got some move, but before that move, Voltas is going to slow down because the short-term charts are stretched. Look at the 15-minute chart. Beautiful. So it's going to slow down and then the next move should come. Partha is asking, sir, how about Bank Nifty? What will be today's level, end of the day, your speculations? So I have no clue, Partha. Um, doesn't make sense to speculate or predict what will be the close. Just go with the trend and the setups and the probability of a move. When you get that, trade that. No point in doing some, what do we say, a prognosis or some prediction of where the levels will be. If you got some good prediction, then put your money and trade into it. That's the best way to check your prediction. Okay. Madhava, if you forget today's candle, how do you see a clear divergence in Voltas end of the day? So Voltas gave us a divergence 2 days back. The divergence on Voltas was on this day, which was Tuesday, and it got triggered on Wednesday. So we got a gap up move today. That's a good trade. That's a good divergence trade. Divergence targets are generally the target bar. So yes, I generally look at the divergence bar as the target. So 1 hour divergence generally give you a good 1 hour. The strike rate of giving 1 hour is very high with divergences. All right, guys. Thanks for all that doubt and the questions. Market this week. All right, I'll take the last one. Ashok Leyland. Ashok Leyland. I am a little skeptical about Ashok Leyland when I look at the weekly chart. It's got a beautiful aim and shoot setup for me to sell, and that's below these lows, which is 124. Currently 130. That's 6 points below. So these lows. So it can give us a surprise about 135. It will be a fall below 125. So you've got a stock stuck between 125 and 135. Do not trade right now in either direction. I will definitely would like to short below 125. I'm not interested to buy above 135 because above 135 it's going to improve, and then I will look into it. Right? So cautiously bearish on Ashok Leyland. All right, guys, thanks a lot for all those doubts, all those questions, and thank you for joining in. Market this week, I'm gonna convert this into video and share in YouTube as soon as possible. All the best. Have a great weekend ahead and trade well, trade wise. Take care.